All right, today we're going to tear down the architecture behind a brand new kind of business intelligence. And I'm not just talking about fancier charts. We're talking about making your data actually talk back to you and explain itself. So let's just start with a really big idea. Imagine a world where you don't have to spend hours or even days digging through spreadsheets trying to find that one golden nugget of insight. What if those insights were just delivered to you in a clear, easy to understand story? This is a massive shift in how we think about information. We are moving from a world where we manually analyze stuff to one where we have a collaborative partner in AI. So how does this whole thing actually work? Let's break it down. Okay, here's our game plan. First, we're going to define exactly what agentic BI is. Then, we'll dive into the three core pillars that really bring it to life. And finally, we'll talk about the super important guardrails that make it all smart and safe. So first things first, what in the world is agentic BI? Let's put a pin in what this next generation of data analysis really means. So here's the key takeaway. This is not just another query tool or a prettier dashboard. It's an active agent. That deep reasoning part is so important. It means it doesn't just match keywords. It actually understands what you're trying to ask, it explains what the data is telling you, and it even helps you build new ways to slice and dice it. Okay, let's get into our first pillar. How does the system actually understand you? How does it take a simple question, something you just type in plain English, and turn it into a precise command a database can run with? Well, it all happens in a three-step process called the intent pipeline. First, it breaks your sentence down into its core components. Next, it figures out any fuzzy words. It uses a probabilistic model, which is really just a fancy way of saying it makes a very educated guess about what you probably meant. And finally, it writes the actual code. And this is where it gets really clever, how it deals with ambiguity. So if you ask for top clients, it's smart enough to look at your data and realize, hey, clients could mean a couple of different things here. It can even ask you to clarify so you get exactly what you need. And get this, you don't have to start from scratch with every single question. The agent has what's called contextual memory. It remembers the conversation so you can ask follow-up questions just like you would with a person. It's a real game changer. Okay, so getting the right data is what, half the battle? Our second pillar is all about turning that raw data into a story that we as humans can actually understand and, do something with. It kicks things off with a technique called retrieval augmented generation, or RAG for short. The best way to think about this is like an open book test. The AI first retrieves all the key facts from your data, and then it uses that information to generate the highlights. It's not just grabbing random numbers, it's pulling out the most important parts of the story. And then the magic happens. A large language model takes those little structured facts and weaves them into a professional, cohesive narrative. Look at this. It's the difference between a list of numbers and a real insight you can actually share in a meeting. This frees you up to think about strategy, not just data prep. And it doesn't stop there. It digs even deeper to find the why. It uses machine learning to figure out the primary drivers behind the numbers. So it's not just answering what happened, but why it happened. All right, our third pillar is all about having an expert co-pilot. It's designed to help you build custom calculations and really complex logic just by describing what you want in plain English. No code required. So let's say you need a new metric, like how long it takes to ship an order. But maybe you're not an expert in the exact formula syntax for your BI tool. No problem. You just describe what you want, nice and simple. And boom. Just like that, the AI's code generation model translates your description into a perfectly formed, ready-to-use formula. This is huge. It completely democratizes data analysis by taking the burden of remembering complex syntax off your shoulders. Now, here's the really crucial part. It doesn't just spit out some code and hope for the best. It runs the formula through a validation loop first. It's like a dry run to check for any errors before you ever see it, which is a fantastic way to prevent those infamous AI hallucinations from messing up your logic. Okay, so this technology is clearly incredibly powerful, but how do we make sure it's trustworthy, that it's secure, that you're still in control? This last section is all about the essential guardrails that make this whole thing ready for the real world. Let's just tackle the biggest concern on everyone's mind when we talk about enterprise AI, data security. How does the system make sure the right people see the right data and only the right data? Well, the whole system is designed from the ground up to be security aware. The agent automatically inherits all the user permissions you already have set up. So if you're only supposed to see sales data for the East region, it will automatically add that filter to every single query behind the scenes. That's awesome. But what if you don't agree with the AI's choice? Say it gives you a bar chart, but you know a line chart would tell a better story. Do you have any say? Oh, absolutely. You are 100% in the driver's seat. The visuals the AI generates are really just intelligent suggestions. You've got a simple visual editor that lets you swap the chart type or change how things are grouped, all without messing up the underlying data. And finally, the big question of fine-tuning. I mean, every business has its own jargon, its own acronyms, its own language, right? How do you teach the system to understand your company's specific lingo? The secret sauce is tuning it with synonyms. And honestly, this is probably the most important thing you can do to boost accuracy. Teaching the AI that your database's kind of cryptic Rev 01 column actually means revenue or income or earnings, that's what makes the precision score shoot through the roof. When you step back and think about it, this technology really changes the whole dynamic of data analysis. It moves us away from a world of just finding answers and into a world where we can have a real conversation with our data. So the real question I'll leave you with is, now that your data has a voice, what new questions will you ask?